Hey everybody, here's a video about the Mid-Tower Lux Black Max. This is concerning a new CPU I installed in it. First let me talk about this machine a little bit because I don't talk about it much on YouTube. This is my parent system I built for them back in early 2009. I use a socket 939 main board for this setup, a socket 939 base setup. And the main board is a Foxconn WinFast NF4 UK 8AA mainboard. I got this new off of eBay in 2009, brand new. And the CPU that was in this machine was pulled from an E-Machines. It was a Athlon 64 3400 plus. Normally 2.2 gig. I had it overclocked to like 2.67. And this machine has 2 gigabytes of DDR memories, DDR400, 4 times 512 megabytes. We have the Cherry Red Dynapower USA 500 watt power supply. And we have a Sunbeam Silent Whisper heatback core. This has also been modified, had the fan replaced, and I have lapped it. We have a Radeon XT 2400 Pro graphics card. We have a Seagate Barracuda Saturn 7.12 500 gig hard drive. Have a DVD-ROM, CD burner, basic run-of-the-mill computer. My parents use it to browse the net, watch videos on, and the single core CPU did okay, but this new CPU I installed recently does quite well. It is a AMD Athlon 64X2 3800 plus CPU. It is the Manchester chip, one of AMD's first dual core chips to be released. It is based on socket 939, of course. And I have it overclocked to 2.5 gig. It is doing quite well. The voltage is at 1.376. The bus speed is 250. I backed the hyper transport multiplier down to 4 times to give a hyper transport link of 1000 for stability. And our memory is at 200 megahertz. I backed it off to 333 so that way it would, of course, run up with the CPU bus to be at 400 again. And here's the funny thing I want to mention about this CPU. Notice here, Core 0 and Core 1 always have like an 8 to 10 degrees C difference in the temperatures. I believe Core 0's sensor is defective. I think Core 1's is more correct. Because look here at the CPU sensor on the motherboard, it says 41C. And this thing has been running stable. I'm running Prime 95 right now. It's currently on test 3. And it seems to be working pretty well. I was just kind of jaw dropped by the big difference in the temperatures here. I mean, it's got to be a defective sensor. I mean, my system, the Mid-Tower Lux, has a Phenom 2 X4965. It's overclocked to 3.9 gig. And the temperatures between all 4 cores are usually maybe 1 to 2 degrees difference. In certain cases, they're usually really close to one another. But this is really odd to have this big of a difference in temperatures between Core 0 and Core 1. What do you guys think about that? Now let's have a look at the Windows Experience Index scores for the Black Max ever since I first built it. Here is the first index of the system. This is back when I had Windows Vista. And the CPU was stock. It was a AMD Athlon 64 3400 plus CPU, 939, Venice at 2.2 gig. You got a 4.1. In the memory, I'm not exactly sure if this memory score was with the current RAM or if it was with a different memory, but it had a 4.1. Graphics is 3.6, the same graphics card is in this system today. Gaming graphics is a 3.8. Primary hard disk is a 5.3. Now, the gaming graphics score may change because I upgraded the system to Windows 7 and it kind of rates stuff a little bit different than Vista did. But our CPU scores and our desktop graphics scores will remain the same. The hard drive score was from the old Western Digital Caviar SC 160 gig hard drive that was in this machine. Here's the results after I overclocked the CPU to 2.67 gig. The processor score went from a 4.1 to a 4.3, and now I have the current memory score on here, which is a 4.8. It's with current memory. Still had the 160 gig hard drive. And our gaming graphics score actually jumped up a tenth of a point, even though I haven't even touched the graphics card. Okay, now let's move on. We're now going to move on to our dual-core CPU, the X2, which here's a CPU Z right quick at the chip. One more time before I go to the experience index. Let's now have a look at that. Here was the X2 chip stock. It's a AMD Athlon 64 X2 3800 plus at 2 gig. It's a Manchester CPU core. Processor score was a 4.6. Memory got a 4.8. Graphics got a 3.6. Gaming graphics got a 5.3. Like I said, this score went up because of Windows 7. This score here is with the current hard drive, the Seagate Barracuda Saturn 2.12 500 gig hard drive. Now have a look here. I can put these scores right next to each other. Look at the difference with you. This is with the CPU at 2.5 gig. Our processor score went from a 4.6 to a 5.3. What a difference. Memory went from 4.8 to a 5.3. This is with Value RAM. Corsair Value Select and Kingston Value RAM mixed together in dual channel. Graphics is the same. Gaming graphics is the same and hard drive is the same. But have a look at that. 4.6 to a 5.3 and a 4.8 to a 5.3. That's not bad considering how easily this CPU overclocked. No wonder AMD was kicking Intel's butt back in 2005. Any questions or comments? Let me know.